I came home early and caught my wife with friends. Remember when I kissed Brian? My husband never knew, she bragged. I recorded it and sent it to my dad and Lisa's husband. I heard laughter from the living room, high-pitched, wine-drunk, the kind of cackling that comes from women who think they're alone. I just pulled into the driveway at 8:47 p.m., 3 hours earlier than expected. The Chicago sales conference had ended early, and I'd driven straight home with an anniversary cake in a white box on my passenger seat. 7 years. Vanilla with raspberry filling, Vanessa's favorite. I froze in the dark hallway, cake box still in my hands. 4 women sat on our gray sectional, wine glasses catching the TV's glow. On the screen, our wedding video played. I recognized the venue immediately. The Oak Terrace Country Club, June 2017. There I was in my tux, 29 years old, shaking hands with guests near the bar. Oh my God, watch this part! My wife Vanessa's voice cut through the room. This is my favorite! I moved closer to the hallway entrance, stayed in the shadows, watched. The camera panned right. Vanessa stood next to Derek, my best friend since sophomore year at Northwestern. My best man, the guy who'd helped me pick out her engagement ring. My stomach dropped like an elevator with cut cables. On screen, Derek leaned in. Vanessa grabbed his face with both hands and kissed him. Not a friendly peck, a real kiss. Deep, passionate. Her hand sliding up to the back of his neck while his hand found the small of her back, 10 feet from where I was shaking hands with my Uncle Ray. Remember when I kissed Derek at my own wedding? Vanessa announced proudly, rewinding the footage with the remote. My husband never knew. He was literally 15 feet away playing host. Her friends erupted in laughter. Genuine, delighted laughter. Girl, you are bold, one of them squealed. Melissa, I recognized her voice. Vanessa's college roommate. Vanessa shrugged, refilling her wine glass from a bottle of Caymus Cabernet. The $40 bottle I'd bought for our anniversary dinner tomorrow. Chris is so oblivious. It's honestly too easy. The cake box felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. I should have walked in, should have thrown the cake at the TV, should have screamed. Instead, I pulled out my iPhone, opened the camera app, hit record. My hands were shaking so badly I had to brace the phone against the wall. So you're still seeing him? Another voice. Jennifer, Vanessa's co-worker. Been secretly meeting Derek for 2 years now. Vanessa's voice dripped with smug satisfaction. Pride, even. Every Thursday like clockwork. Every Thursday. Book club. She'd had a standing Thursday night book club for 2 years. Came home at 10:30 p.m. smelling like wine and carrying whatever novel they'd supposedly discussed. I'd never questioned it. Why would I? 2 years? The fourth woman gasped. I didn't recognize her voice. Doesn't Derek have a wife? Sophie doesn't know. Vanessa laughed. A cold, sharp sound I'd never heard from her before. Derek says their marriage is basically over anyway. They're just staying together for appearances. We meet at the Kimpton downtown every Thursday. Suite 614. Our little tradition. The Kimpton, the hotel where we'd stayed on our first anniversary. Why stay married to Chris then? Melissa asked. If you're in love with Derek? Vanessa's laugh got louder, crueler. Are you kidding? My father-in-law pays our mortgage. Plus, Chris does literally everything around here. Cooking, cleaning, childcare. It's like having a live-in housekeeper. Why would I give up free housing and a built-in nanny? Live-in housekeeper. The words punched through my chest like a spear. My father, Will Donovan, retired union electrician, 63 years old, had been writing checks for $12,800 every month since I lost my job at the marketing firm 18 months ago. I'd been working part-time at a coffee shop, raising our 4-year-old son Noah, managing the house, cooking every meal, doing every load of laundry while Vanessa worked her fancy marketing director job at Branson & Associates. That's genius, Jennifer said. Why buy the cow when you're getting the milk and the maid service for free? They all laughed. When did it start? The unknown woman asked. 2 years ago. Noah was 2. Chris had been home with him for like 6 months, completely absorbed in toddler shit. Derek and I were working late on the Henderson account and she paused for effect. One thing led to another. It just felt right, you know? Derek gets me in ways Chris never did. 2 years ago. When Noah was going through that phase where he wouldn't sleep unless I rocked him for an hour. When I was up at 3 a.m. every night, exhausted, barely functioning. When Vanessa was working late 3 nights a week. The video on screen showed our first dance, Thinking Out Loud by Ed Sheeran. Literally dancing with his wife while thinking about his best friend, Vanessa giggled. It's honestly so hot. I backed silently out of the hallway. My legs moved on autopilot. I walked to my Honda CR-V, got in, closed the door carefully so it wouldn't make noise. Then I just sat there, breathing. The phone was still recording. I stopped it, checked the file. 4 minutes and 37 seconds. Crystal clear audio. Vanessa's voice unmistakable. I texted the video to myself on 3 different platforms. iMessage, email, Google Drive. Sent it to my brother's phone with a message. Don't open yet. Just keep this safe. Then I sat in my car for another 10 minutes, watching the house through the windshield. The Chris Donovan who'd left for Chicago yesterday morning was gone. That guy believed in his marriage, believed his wife loved him, believed his sacrifices meant something. The Chris Donovan sitting in this car was someone different. I picked up the cake box, walked back inside. They were still watching the video. The bouquet toss now. Vanessa's cousin catching the flowers. He proposed to Chris after 6 months, Vanessa was saying. I should have known it was too fast, but I was 26 and wanted the wedding, you know? Derek was still in grad school. The timing was wrong, so I was was a timing issue, a placeholder until Derek was available. I walked straight to our bedroom, opened the closet, pulled out the box of black trash bags I kept under the sink, started grabbing her clothes off hangers, dresses, blouses, the red dress she'd worn to our anniversary dinner last year, the blue one she'd worn to Derek and Sophie's wedding. I didn't fold anything, just stuffed it all into bags. Heavy footsteps in the hallway. The bedroom door opened. "Babe, when did you get home?" Vanessa stood in the doorway, wine glass in hand, mascara slightly smudged from laughing so hard. Her expression was confused, cautious, like a cat caught on the kitchen counter. I tied off the fourth trash bag, didn't look at her. "Chris, what are you doing?" "I came home early." My voice sounded calm, too calm. "Wanted to surprise you with anniversary cake. Instead, I got to hear about how you've been sleeping with Derek for 2 years and only stay with me because my dad pays the bills." The wine glass slipped from her hand. It didn't break, just bounced on the carpet, spilling Camus all over our white rug, the rug we'd picked out together at Pottery Barn 3 years ago. Her face went vampire white. "Wait, I can explain." "Don't," I said, my voice shaking now with rage I couldn't control. "Call me babe again. You lost that right about 4 minutes ago." She scrambled. I could see her brain working, trying to find the right words, the right angle. "That was just girl talk. I was exaggerating to sound interesting. You know how women are when they get together. So, you weren't kissing Derek in the wedding video? That was a drunk mistake 3 years ago. It didn't mean anything." I pulled out my phone, pressed play. Her own voice filled the room, tinny through the iPhone speaker. "Been secretly meeting Derek for 2 years now. Every Thursday like clockwork. Sweet 614. Our little tradition." She lunged for the phone. I yanked it back, held it over my head. "Touch me or this phone, and I call the cops for assault. The video's already in the cloud, Vanessa. It's uploaded. It's sent. It's over." Her entire demeanor changed in an instant. Desperation replaced arrogance. Her eyes went wet with tears that appeared too quickly to be real. "Chris, please. Marriage is hard. People make mistakes. But think about Noah, our son. We can fix this. I'll end it with Derek. We'll go to counseling. I love you. I've always loved you. Get out. You can't kick me out of my own house. My father pays the mortgage," I reminded her. My voice was ice, which means my father controls the lease. "I'm calling him right now to tell him his daughter-in-law has been committing fraud while sleeping with a married man." Her mouth snapped shut. I grabbed another trash bag, moved to her dresser, started emptying drawers. "Chris, please. Do you know what the worst part is?" I stopped, looked at her directly for the first time. "Not the cheating, not even Derek. It's the contempt. You called me oblivious, a housekeeper. You laughed about it with your friends like I'm some kind of joke." "I didn't mean 2 years, Vanessa. 730 days of lying to my face. Every Thursday night, you kissed our son goodnight and went to screw my best friend in a hotel room. While I was here doing laundry and meal planning and being your live-in maid." The tears were real now, ugly crying. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It was a mistake, a terrible mistake. We can work through this." "No," I tied off another bag. "We can't, because I'll never trust you again, and I'll never forgive you. Not for the affair, for making me feel grateful that you married me." I marched past her into the living room. Her friends had gone silent. They'd heard everything. All 4 of them stared at their phones like they'd suddenly become fascinating. "Get out," I said. "All of you, now." They scattered, grabbed purses and shoes and half-finished wine glasses. Melissa tried to say something. "Chris, I'm so out." The front door closed behind them at 9:33 p.m. Vanessa tried begging, crying, bargaining. She went through all 5 stages of grief in under 10 minutes. "You have 1 hour," I said. "Pack what you need. You're not sleeping here tonight. Not tomorrow night, not ever again. Where am I supposed to go? Call Derek. I'm sure Suite 614 is available." She left at 10:41 p.m., 3 suitcases and a makeup bag, mascara running down her face. She tried to hug me goodbye. I stepped back. "Can I at least say goodnight to Noah? He's asleep, and you're not waking him up to explain why mommy's leaving in the middle of the night." The door closed behind her. I locked it. The deadbolt, the chain, every window. Then I sat on the kitchen floor and pulled up my contacts. I sent the video to my dad, typed, "This is why she married me. I'm sorry you wasted your money." The response came in 47 seconds. "Pack her things. I'm changing the locks tomorrow morning. You and Noah stay. She's out." I scrolled to the next contact. Sophie Castellano, Derek's wife. Sweet, trusting Sophie who'd hosted us for dinner 3 weeks ago. Who'd made Noah cookies shaped like dinosaurs. Who'd told me I was such a good dad while Derek and Vanessa were in the kitchen, grabbing more wine. I attached the video. Typed, "Sophie, I'm so sorry you have to find out this way. I just discovered this tonight. You deserve to know the truth." Sent. My hand was shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. 2 minutes later it rang. Sophie's name on the screen. "Hello? Is this real?" Her voice was broken, shaking. "Please tell me this is some kind of sick joke. I recorded it an hour ago. I came home early from Chicago and heard her bragging to her friends." Silence. Then the sound of crying. Not loud, dramatic sobs. The quiet, devastating kind that comes from your entire life collapsing. "I'm 8 months pregnant," Sophie whispered. "We're having a girl. He helped me set up the nursery last weekend." My throat closed. "I'm so sorry. How long?" She said 2 years. "Every Thursday." "Thursday?" Sophie's voice went flat. "He has poker night every Thursday." I never questioned it. We sat in silence for a moment. 2 people who'd had the same lie told to them by people who were supposed to love them. Thank you for telling me, Sophie finally said. I'm calling a lawyer tonight. If you need anything, I need to process this. I can't talk anymore. I'm sorry. She hung up. I sat on the kitchen floor staring at the anniversary cake on the counter. Vanilla with raspberry filling. Untouched. Vanessa had called me oblivious, a housekeeper, a joke. But I'd just sent her entire world crashing down with one video. I didn't sleep that night. At 6:47 a.m., my phone rang. My father. She called me, he said without preamble, crying. Said you're being unreasonable. That she made one mistake and you're throwing away 7 years over nothing. Did you watch the video? I did. Then you know it wasn't one mistake. It was 2 years of calculated betrayal. I know. His voice was hard. I'm coming over at 9 with a locksmith. I already called my lawyer. The mortgage is in my name only. The house was my gift to you when you got married. She has zero legal claim. I'm also calling the bank to remove her from any accounts I co-signed on. Dad, you don't have to. She used my money to fund a life with you while sleeping with another man. That's fraud. Maybe not legally, but morally, it's theft. He paused. I'm sorry, son. I liked her. I thought she loved you. Me too. He showed up at 9:14 a.m. with a locksmith named Frank Delgado, 60 years old, retired cop, 23 years with Chicago PD. Your dad explained the situation, Frank said, measuring the front door lock. I've done this before. You'd be surprised how often it happens. We'll get you secured. By 10:30 a.m., we had new locks on both doors, new garage code, new alarm code. My dad handed me the keys. She doesn't live here anymore. If she shows up, call the police for trespassing. What about her stuff? Put it in storage. Send her the bill. At 11:03 a.m., my phone started blowing up. Derek, 17 missed calls, text messages. We need to talk. Sophie is losing her mind. Call me back now. I blocked his number. Then came the mutual friends. The guys from Northwestern. The couple we'd gone to Napa with last year. Everyone had an opinion, most of them wrong. Don't make any rash decisions. Marriage is hard. People make mistakes. Think about Noah. He needs both parents. I didn't respond to any of them. At 2:47 p.m., I got a call from an unknown number. Answered it. Mr. Donovan, this is Patricia Vega. I'm a family law attorney in Chicago. Your father gave me your number. I understand you're going through a difficult situation. That's one way to put it. I've reviewed the evidence your father shared. I'd like to meet with you this week. I think we can move quickly on this. Patricia's office was on the 32nd floor of a downtown high-rise, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Michigan, degrees from Northwestern Law School on the wall. She was 46, sharp suit, sharper eyes. I'm going to be direct, she said. Your wife committed adultery. You have video evidence of her admitting it. The infidelity and your father's ownership of the marital home puts you in a strong position. What about Noah? You're the primary caregiver, correct? You've been staying home with him for 18 months while she works? Yes, that helps. Illinois favors the parent who's been the primary caregiver. We'll push for full custody with supervised visitation for her. Supervised? She's demonstrated poor judgment and deception. A judge will question her ability to provide a stable environment. Patricia pulled out a legal pad. I need you to document everything. Her work schedule, your childcare duties, any texts or emails that show the affair, bank statements showing your father's mortgage payments. Over the next week, I built a case. I contacted the Kimpton Hotel. The manager, Robert Hayes, 31 years in hospitality, confirmed that Derek Castellano had a standing reservation for Suite 614 every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. for the past 2 years, paid with his corporate credit card. I remember him, Robert said. Always requested the same suite. Always came with the same woman. I thought it was his wife until you showed me the photo. I got documentation, receipts, confirmation emails. I pulled our cell phone records. Every Thursday night for 2 years, Vanessa's phone pinged off the tower nearest the Kimpton between 7:15 p.m. and 10:45 p.m. I contacted her employer, asked for a copy of her work schedule from the past 2 years. Every alleged late work night she'd claimed, she'd actually left the office at 5:30 p.m. Patricia smiled when I showed her. This is better than most clients give me in 6 months. You're thorough. I used to work in digital marketing. Data analysis was my specialty. Well, your wife picked the wrong person to underestimate. The crisis came on a Wednesday. Vanessa filed a restraining order claiming I'd been emotionally abusive and threatening. She wanted temporary custody of Noah while we worked out the divorce. Patricia called me at 8:24 a.m. We have a hearing tomorrow at 2 p.m. Don't worry. Her lawyer is fishing, but you need to prepare for her to lie. The courtroom was in the Daly Center. Judge Michelle Ostrowski presiding. 26 years on the bench. Former prosecutor. Reputation for not tolerating bullshit. Vanessa showed up with her attorney, Kenneth Shaw from Shaw & Partners. Expensive suit. Practiced sympathy. Kenneth argued that I'd suddenly become volatile after discovering her emotional affair. That I'd forced her from the home, denied her access to her son, and threatened her livelihood. Your Honor, Kenneth said smoothly, Mr. Donovan is clearly experiencing a breakdown. My client is concerned for her son's safety, while his father is in this unstable condition. Judge Ostrowski looked at me. Mr. Donovan, you have a response? Patricia stood. Your Honor, we have evidence that fundamentally contradicts Mrs. Donovan's claims. She presented the video. All 4 minutes and 37 seconds. Vanessa's voice bragging about the affair. The contempt dripping from every word. The courtroom went silent. Then Patricia presented the hotel records, the cell phone data, the work schedule. Your Honor, Patricia said, Mrs. Donovan engaged in a 2-year extramarital affair while Mr. Donovan served as the primary caregiver to their 4-year-old son. She used her father-in-law's financial support to maintain her lifestyle while conducting this affair. When confronted with evidence, she left the marital home voluntarily. Mr. Donovan made no threats. He simply refused to continue enabling her deception. Kenneth tried to object. This is a character assassination. This is evidence. Judge Ostrowski cut him off. Continue, Ms. Vega. Patricia handed over witness statements. My father, Noah's pediatrician, Dr. Alan Foster, 15 years in practice, who confirmed I'd been the parent attending all appointments. Noah's preschool teacher, Miss Jennifer Huang, who confirmed I did all drop-offs and pickups. Mr. Donovan has been the stable, consistent presence in his son's life, Patricia concluded. Mrs. Donovan's restraining order is a tactical attempt to gain leverage in divorce proceedings. It has no factual basis. Judge Ostrowski reviewed the evidence, looked at Vanessa. Mrs. Donovan, I'm denying your restraining order. The evidence shows Mr. Donovan has been the primary caregiver and poses no threat. You left the marital home voluntarily. I'm granting temporary custody to Mr. Donovan. You'll have supervised visitation on weekends pending full custody hearing. Vanessa's face crumbled. Your Honor, he's turning my son against me. That's enough. Request denied. Kenneth gathered his papers, whispering urgently to Vanessa. She was crying, real tears this time. As we left the courthouse, Vanessa grabbed my arm. Chris, please, can we talk? I pulled away. Talk to my lawyer. I made a mistake, a horrible mistake, but I love Noah. I love you. We can fix this. You don't love me, Vanessa. You loved what I provided. There's a difference. She stood on the courthouse steps crying while I walked away. It felt like breathing after being underwater for 2 years. The divorce moved quickly after that. In Illinois, adultery affects asset division. Patricia pushed for everything. The house my father owned, full custody, child support from Vanessa's salary. Derek and Sophie's divorce was messier. Sophie hired Victoria Lopez, 20 years in family law, reputation for destroying cheating spouses in court. Derek tried to claim the affair was just sex and meant nothing. Victoria presented evidence that he'd used company funds for the hotel rooms. His employer, a commercial real estate firm, launched an internal investigation. He was terminated for fraud 2 weeks later. Sophie got their house, their savings, primary custody of their daughter when she was born. Derek moved into his brother's basement. The fallout spread through our social circle like wildfire. The Northwestern crew took sides. Most sided with me once they saw the evidence. A few tried to stay neutral. We don't want to get involved in your personal business. I cut them all off. If you're neutral in a situation where someone was deliberately betrayed, you're not neutral. You're complicit. Vanessa tried to rehabilitate her image, posted on Facebook about working through challenges and focusing on healing. Her comments were full of support from people who didn't know the truth. I didn't correct the record publicly. Didn't need to. The people who mattered knew. The final divorce hearing was in August. Judge Ostrowski awarded me full physical custody of Noah. Vanessa got supervised visitation every other weekend. She was ordered to pay child support, $1,200 per month based on her marketing director salary. The house stayed with my father. He transferred the deed to me. Vanessa was ordered to pay my legal fees, $2,400. As the gavel fell, Vanessa turned to me. Her face was pale, drawn. She'd lost weight. You destroyed my life, she whispered. I looked at her, this stranger who'd worn my wife's face for 7 years. No, I said. You destroyed yourself. I just stopped pretending I didn't notice. 6 months later, I was making breakfast when Noah, now 5 years old, asked me a question I'd been dreading. Why doesn't Mommy live here anymore? I put down the spatula, sat down at his eye level. Mommy and Daddy decided we're happier living separately, but we both love you very much. That hasn't changed. Is it because of the man? My stomach dropped. What man? The man Mommy brings to the park, Derek. She said he's her special friend. Supervised visitation. The supervisor was supposed to prevent exactly this. I called Patricia that afternoon. She filed an emergency motion. The supervisor, a court-appointed social worker named Diane Pritchard, 12 years in family services, admitted she'd stepped away for coffee, and Vanessa had used that time to introduce Noah to Derek. Violation of court order. Judge Ostrowski was not pleased. Mrs. Donovan, you were explicitly prohibited from introducing your son to your paramour during supervised visits. This violation demonstrates a concerning pattern of disregarding court orders and prioritizing your relationship over your child's well-being. Vanessa's visitation was reduced to once per month, still supervised. Derek was banned from being anywhere near Noah. She tried to appeal, lost. I was sitting on my back porch when Patricia called with the news. It's over, she said. The appeal was denied. The custody arrangement stands. I hung up and looked at Noah playing in the yard, building something with blocks, completely absorbed. This is what winning looks like, I thought. Not revenge, not punishment, just my son, safe, happy, protected. A year after the divorce finalized, I was at a coffee shop in Lincoln Park when I saw them. Vanessa and Derek, at a corner table. She looked different, older, harder. He looked tired, defeated. They weren't laughing, weren't touching, just sitting sitting in silence, drinking coffee, looking like two people who'd realized too late that the fantasy wasn't worth the cost. Derek saw me first. His face went pale. He said something to Vanessa. She turned. Our eyes met across the coffee shop. I didn't feel anger, didn't feel satisfaction, didn't feel anything really. Just the quiet indifference of someone who'd moved on completely. I picked up my coffee and left.